can do it.
Oh, lost
Look
it.
at that. I planned that the whole time.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Michael with RC Crawling. Today, we are going to be taking a look at the FMS FCX24M Toyota Tacoma. The FCX24M has been out for a while. Here's some technical specs. You can pause it and take a look at that. On the back, some more information. Pause, zoom in, take a look at that. Comes in 3 different colors: gray, blue, or red. And we have got the red one. So we are going to get this out of the box, take a look at it, go run it, and then we are going to come back to the bench and take a little bit of a deeper dive into the Tacoma FCX24M. And maybe in this video we'll do our first mod. So stay tuned and let's go have some fun with it first. A quick look here at the truck. Very nice, detailed hard body. Got some nice plastic chrome on the Tacoma badge. Full interior on the inside. Nice bumper with some D-rings here on the front. Cool little cargo rack on the back. And nice details such as the gas cap and molded door handles, body lines molded in, clear windows. And underneath, we've got Velcro with a hinge in the back. Our battery trays right here. This is our shift servo, 50 sized brushed motor, 2-in-1 ESC and receiver. And then of course our steering servo. Pretty decent steering angle, I think, for a RTR. Underneath, we've got a 3-link setup in the front and rear. And this is cool, counter-rotating drive shafts. So this will help reduce torque twist by the mass of the drive shafts spinning in opposite directions, help keeps the truck nice and level when out on the trails. Nice oil-filled shocks, they feel pretty good. A little bouncy, but not too bad. And one thing I noticed is we've got 3 shock positions on the front here and about 10 shock positions on the rear, which is really nice for an RTR. And it does look like we've got different rate springs on the rear. These look like they're a little bit thicker gauge wire than the springs on the front, which is interesting. So yeah, that's a close look at the truck. Comes with the familiar FMS receiver, steering trim, throttle trim, and dual rates. Bind button also controls your headlights. It does take 4 AAA batteries. Already got those installed, so we can go hit the rocks. Instruction manual, which I do recommend you read because it tells you how to operate it. Gives you exploded views, so when you start working on it and upgrading parts, you'll have a reference guide, and it tells you how to use your controller if you don't already know how to do that. It does come with some accessories. We've got our wheel nut tool, a charger, which you know my feelings on the USB chargers, some Allen wrenches, that goes in the garbage, little Phillips head screwdriver, and interestingly, an extra spur gear. It tells me that this is I think a 72 tooth spur gear, mod 3. But I don't know what's in there, and it does not say what's in there. So that might be a direct replacement. It might change the gearing. If you know, let me know in the comments. But we also have a different bumper and grille and tiny little Toyota logo. So if you wanted to swap your grill and bumper that come on it, you have that option to do so. So pretty cool, nice little truck. Let's go hit the rocks and then come back and take a deeper dive into it. Here it is outside, just a great looking little truck. Super smooth slow crawl. Let's go ahead and just take some of our usual lines and see how the Tacoma stacks up. The long wheelbase definitely helps with climbing. Having a little bit of clearance issues with the front bumper. There we go. Nice and easy over it. Go ahead and turn those headlights on. And it's still visible during daylight. Nice and bright. Nice flex from this thing, even though it's a 3-link front and rear. There we go, just give it a little bump. Oh, and a little scale rollover. Getting hung up on our diff and rear links here, which is pretty common for the longer wheelbase 24 scale crawlers. Not able to make it in first gear, but this thing does have a 2-speed transmission, so let's throw it in second, see if we can bump over it. Easy. Plenty of wheel speed in second gear to bump over. Back into first. Hanging up again on our links or diff underneath. I feel like got plenty of steering angle. Hanging up on that long bed and the overhang a little bit. See if we can break it loose. First gear doesn't seem to be working for us, so put it in second. Oh, a little too much. Let's reset and see if we can try that again. There we go. And same clearance issues here at the top. Oh, lost it. Whew, that's a little fast in second gear for crawling. So we can make that climb. It's a little dangerous. Come through the boulder field. This is good for checking our approach angle. Okay, not the worst, not the best. Still, our long wheelbase is tripping us up here. Let's see if second gear does anything for us. There we go, able to power up onto the boulder field. And plenty of slow, smooth crawl, lots of control. Be able to finish that out, nice. Let's see how the little Tacoma tackles the frame bender. See if we can manage this without rolling over. All right, a little excitement so far. Let's see if we can, uh-oh, we fell into the gap. Able to recover though. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. I don't think we're taking on the frame bender yet. We're going to try one last line up and over the stair steps. It looks good. A little bit of approach angle issues here on the stair steps, but able to find a notch. Now we're hanging up on that skid again. There we go. With a little bit of trouble, we're able to make the stair steps. Not bad though for a long, small tire truck. Let's kind of trail around the course a little bit. We're still in first gear. That's high speed in first gear. Okay, let's go ahead and throw it into second. Plenty of speed for trailing and walking with it. That's just about walking speed, so that's a nice comfortable walking speed if you want to take your FCX24M out on the trails. Oh, and stuck in the long clover, but able to power through. Back on the bench, let's take a little bit of a deeper dive into the Tacoma. We looked underneath briefly. It does come with a 380 milliamp hour LiPo battery, standard Molex connector from FMS. If you have any of the FCX18s, I do know the battery will fit here. You could also fashion a mount here in the front to move that weight forward and help with our climbing. We've got headlights. Unfortunately, no taillights. That's kind of a bummer, but it does look like we have LED buckets to potentially add some in the future. You could add your own just by splitting into your headlights, and they would just be always on, which would be fine. It still adds some scale details. The 50-turn brush motor feels sufficient for it now. It's actually very, very smooth. Very nice for a brush setup. Nice 2-speed transmission. The servo feels nice. It's plenty quick. I do fear that I'm going to burn this out because I am hard on servos. So the only servo replacement I know you can find from 39 Flow RC. If anybody else knows of any servos for the FCX24M, drop it in the comments. I'd like to know. Because I do plan on upgrading this, and it could benefit from some added weight to offset the weight of this hard body. I do wish the windows were smoked. I like seeing the interior. I like that we do have an interior. I just wish these windows were smoked. Well, I'm going to try to do that myself, give them a little bit of a tint. I think the headlights would look cool with the same smoky appearance, but I think overall they did a really good job. The bed, I do want to pull this out and paint it black. And the nice thing about this body is you can do that very easily. You can unscrew all these screws, get access to the interior, add a driver, add some more details inside, even paint it a different color if you choose. Same with the fenders. It looks like those can be removed easily if you want to get rid of the fenders and go for a real hardcore rock crawler build. It'll help with clearance. Nice Tacoma stamping in the tailgate. Really nice details on these molded features. And then this nice rack with the wire mesh. Very nice detail. We already talked about the counter-rotating drive shafts. Very good for helping reduce torque twist. But let's get out the calipers and take some measurements. Our tires are about 45, so pretty small. Yeah, about 45 millimeters. I do want to take a closer look at these shocks, so I'm going to pull off the shocks. I think I'll just pull off the rear shock for now. And let's take some measurements on that. So I will get that pulled off and then we'll take a closer look. All right, we've got the shock off. Tiny little thing. So underneath our wheel and tire, we've got our normal, I believe, 7mm hex, standard axle pin setup. Nothing surprising here. So any 1.0 beadlock wheels and sufficiently small tires will work on your FCX24M. The nut is the standard 4mm box, and most of the other parts on the chassis are the hex head, and it is the familiar 0.05 inch hex. Let's take a little bit closer look at the shock. They say these are oil filled, and the cap does come off. Yeah, they are oil filled. So nice feature from FMS on this little rig to have oil filled shocks. Helps control that heavy hard body. Let's take a look here at the shock itself. Measure from eye to eye. About 32 millimeters. Call it 32. And then at compression, full compression, we are down to about 25. Yeah, we'll call that 25. So 32 to 25 is what, 7 millimeters of travel? Not bad, but I feel like maybe some 39mm shocks, oil-filled shocks, would be a nice upgrade for this truck without it looking ridiculous. So I'm going to actually do our first upgrade while we've got this truck. I had some Injora 1.0 Modu wheels sitting around and some Thornbirds, and I think these will look pretty cool on the truck. So these tires are about 49 millimeters, so a little bit larger tire. The wheels, I think these are 1.0s, about 25 millimeters. And these stock tires and wheels are nice and squishy, not too soft. They are just friction mounted. They do have foams inside, but really you're not going to have issues with the tire spinning on the wheel. But if you want to upgrade to beadlocks, you can. I'm going to throw these on there and we'll go run it again and see how it does. There we are after the tire swap. Nice aggressive lugs on these Thornbird tires. Negative offset wheels help push it out a little bit, help widen that track width, and help with our side hill capabilities. I just think that's a nice aggressive tread pattern and a not too large a tire. So I think that's a pretty good look on this Tacoma. We'll hit the rocks again and see how she does. Back out on the course with our new wheel and tire setup. These do have brass rings, so they provide some weight, which is going to be very helpful for this hard body. Still got to fight that front bumper clearance. But nice and composed. That felt easier. Looks like we are getting some rubbing on the front at full lock and articulation. And we turtled it. All right, reset. That was driver error. That's still nice and easy. Really planted. Are we able to do it in first gear? Almost. It wants to. There we go. We'll see if our slightly larger tires help with our rear bumper hanging. I'm going to guess it's not going to make much of a difference. Well, it does help a little bit, getting us up and over. That was a lot more composed than previously when we had to do it in second gear. You come around here, try to get on the boulder field. That's the price you pay for scale realism. You have scale crawler issues. Struggling a little bit with that approach angle. But that was a lot easier to get up onto the boulder field. Able to crawl through clean. We haven't gained any articulation, but we did widen our track width and add some weight. So let's see if we notice any changes going through the frame bender. I expect we're going to flip on our side again. Yep. Scale rollover. We'll do one more climb over the stair steps. That was a lot easier to navigate with just that little bit of extra clearance from those tires. Stair steps were very manageable. Hear those tires clicking on that front fender. But it doesn't seem to bind up too bad, so that can be lived with. And off on the trails. I appreciate everyone joining today. The Tacoma is a great little crawler or trail truck. I think it could do both with the right upgrades. What do you think you would do with the Tacoma? You want a scale trail truck? Do you want a line slayer? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to keep working on this thing. Unfortunately, the FCX24M has not had major aftermarket support other than the stuff that is just directly compatible with most of these little crawlers. I hope it doesn't get forgotten by Injora and Mias and some of the other companies that make great products. Mofo RC, all you guys out there, you know who you are. Don't forget about the FCX24M and the SCX30 craze. These were wildly popular. I know a lot of people had issues getting their pre-orders and they were delayed. They ran out and had to restock. So I hope we see lots of good support for the Tacoma, because I think this is just an awesome little truck and could do wonderful things with the right parts. So if you made it to the end, leave a comment. Team Taco Truck, let me know that you watched all the way to the end, and I will catch you again soon in the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. It helps the channel grow, and I appreciate it all so much from all of my viewers. Catch you again soon.